Rising to popularity in the 1980s and 1990s with his unusual blend of R&B and new jack swing, Bobby Brown is a well-known American singer, songwriter, and actor. Thanks to his charismatic stage look, flawless voice, and trademark dancing moves, he started to become rather popular in the music business, define a period of music that still motivates musicians nowadays. Though his career has been full of noteworthy achievements, his personal life has been marked by great hardships and well-known tragedies. Born in Boston, Massachusetts on February 5, 1969, Bobby Brown comes from a city with Bobby Brown's childhood was barred in the inner city areas where he grew up. Growing up in the Roxbury area, known for its rich history and varied population, but also for its high cost and propensity for crime, he was exposed to Bobby Brown, grew up in a large family, including 8 other children. The parents of him were Carol and Herbert Brown. His father was a construction worker. He worked as a substitute teacher, then headed a daycare center. The Brown family often battled to make ends meet, even with their diligence and dedication. Bobby's place of residence was growing up in a poor area where violence and crime were frequent, made his childhood difficult. He also experienced personally the difficulties of residing in a poor area. Bobby Brown, however, discovered solace in music from a very young age, even with all these issues. He always wanted to be on stage, and his passion of music provided a means of expression and hope-finding tool. His house was full of soul, funk, and R&B growing up. He was greatly influenced by community music icons, including James Brown, Marvin Gaye, and Michael Jackson, and appreciated their ability dances. Early 1980s membership in the innovative R&B group New Edition started Bobby Brown's musical adventure. Seeing these musicians perform inspired him to pursue music and dream of one day establishing himself in the industry. His background not only launched his career, but also helped to define contemporary R&B music going forward, changing the concept of a boy band with a group of young aspirational boys from Boston known as New Edition. His influence on the music business is still felt today. Meant to pay homage to the renowned town act that shaped them and show that they were the new rendition of the Jackson 5. The boys polished their talents at neighborhood talent events for wowing audiences. Producer Morris Starr was enthralled by the group's energy and potential in 1982 and noticed their tight harmonies, coordinated dance moves, and obvious charisma. Signed by his label, Starr helped them record Candy Girl, their first album. This cooperation would be the group's major turning point, drawing attention on them nationally. Candy Girl, the first album from this edition, hit right away in 1983, drawn to the early Jackson 5 hits. In lively title song, Candy Girl, it would appeal to younger listeners and shut the top. The lyrics of the song about teenage crushes and the excitement of young love perfectly caught the innocence and vitality of the group. The song became the Times anthem because of its appealing rhythm and lighthearted delivery. Following Candy Girl's popularity, other top tunes, including one of the most popular new R&B acts, became Popcorn Love and Is This the End? A welcome addition to the music scene. The group's sound combined modern, young vibe with traditional R&B. Their high-spirited performances, elegant choreography, and appealing songs were well known. Teen idols were loved for reasons other than only their music. They became well known for their chic clothing and endearing personalities, and soon developed a devoted following. With their sophomore album, New Edition, which debuted in 1984, Candy Girl's success helped New Edition keep top position on the charts. It included 2 of the most well-known songs from the group, Mr. Telephone Man and Cool It Now. Cool It Now demonstrated how their sound was evolving and how matured they were as musicians, so helping them to establish themselves as a top R&B act. This was a relevant coming-of-age song on the ups and downs of adolescent relationships. It was a fan favorite because of its appealing hook and contagious rhythms. The lyrics, which discuss the push and pull of young love, really spoke to many people. Another hit from the album that truly stood out was Mr. Telephone Man. This was a soulful and sincere song that highlighted group vocals. Ray Parker Jr. wrote and produced it. centers on a young man trying to phone his love interest. He really distinguished the song with its emotional lyrics and seamless melody. Still among New Edition's most loved songs, it was a timeless hit. From carefree and fun to serious and emotional, these songs revealed how the group could manage a spectrum of styles and subjects. A popularity of sincere New Edition in the 1980s ushered in a fresh phase for R&B and pop music. People attribute Ed with laying the groundwork for the boy band craze that would sweep over the music industry in the next years. Boy bands abound in groups including Boys II Men, Backstreet Boys, and Sync. Inspired by the approach to music, sound, and style of New Edition, they set the benchmark for how boy bands would be handled and sold going forward. New Edition also helped to popularize the new jack swing genre, which combined R&B, hip-hop, funk to define the late 1980s and early 1990s. Early on in the group's history, the genre was still in its infancy. Their later work, particularly with Bobby Brown as a producer, especially with regard to solo artists, would assist in disseminating this fresh sound to more listeners. By bridging the gap between classic R&B and the more modern sounds combining hip-hop elements, they made enormous contributions to the evolution of R&B music. Bobby Brown left Fresh Editions in 1986, where he made the significant decision to travel alone, which marked a turning point in his life and the beginning of his solo artist. Brown's increasing need for artistic freedom and his discontent with the group's administration drove him to go solo, even if the new member had made him famous. Brown made a courageous decision since he ventured into the cutthroat music business on his own, so sacrificing the security of a successful group. Once he left New Edition, Bobby Brown struggled to find his own voice as a solo performer. Though it had the hit single Girlfriend, which topped the R&B charts, king of stage, his first album, released in 1986, received mixed reviews and was not a big hit. Brown had anticipated that this album would appeal more to mainstream listeners, but it didn't. Brown was motivated to change his musical approach and hunt fresh inspirations appealing to a larger audience. He began working on his next project, and this time, he participated more actively in the artistic process. Brown collaborated with some of the most creative producers of the period for his second album, Don't Be Cruel, including La Red and Babyface. Teddy Riley, among the creators of the New Jack Swing movement. A New Jack Swing, a mix of R&B, hip-hop, and funk with an energetic, driving pulse, defined the sound of the album. Unlike anything else in popular music, Brown decided to embrace this new genre that pushed R&B limits and enabled him to relate to a younger urban audience. Brown's dynamic performance and the album's innovative production made Don't Be Cruel a revolutionary piece that would define his career. 1988 saw its publication. It became popular right away among critics and fans. Eventually, it topped the Billboard chart, attracted a broad spectrum of listeners, and it soon ascended the charts. Eventually, it topped the Billboard 200, where it stayed for a few weeks, and it sold over 7 million copies in New York just alone. This remarkable achievement not only confirmed Bobby Brown's position in the music industry, but also proved he could perform without fresh material. Several of the hit singles Don't Be Cruel created became classic songs of the late 1980s and early 1990s. 1990s, My Prerogative, among the most well-known songs on the album, caught Brown's sense of autonomy and self-expression. Fans connected with the words, which assert everyone's right to live their own life, which turned into a musical anthem of resistance and personal freedom. Innovative R&B, funk, and rock mix Don't Be Cruel highlighted Brown's strong voice and assured demeanor. Still one of Brown's most well-known songs, it became a top hit on the Billboard Hot 100. This album confirmed Brown's position in musical history. Its blend of R&B, hip-hop, and New Jack Swing helped define the sound of the late 1980s and affected many musicians who adopted Brown's audacious approach. His unrepentant attitude and distinctive style appealed to a generation ready to be themselves and express itself. His songs started to serve as a soundtrack for those seeking to live life on their own terms and reject society expectations. Apart from music, The album affected dance, fashion, and popular culture, as well as this was much influenced by Brown's edgy look, which included baggy clothing. At that time, wearing pants, leather jackets, and high-top fades was a must. Fans and other musicians mimicked his high-spirited dance motions and stage presence. Like Usher, he also inspired a fresh generation of artists seeking to mix singing with intricate dance. Chris Brown, even Justin Timberlake, have claimed that Brown had a significant influence on their careers, particularly his ability to mix smooth vocals with vigorous dancing moves, which distinguishes him. The foundation of Bobby Brown's success was his dynamic on stage. Brown understood how to grab people's attention, whether he was performing on TV specials or to tens of thousands of fans in sold-out arena. Artists like James Brown and Michael Jackson inspired Brown greatly, and he included dynamic motions and acrobatic steps in his presentations. His charismatic performances allowed him to effortlessly mix singing with difficult dance moves. Brown's trademark dance moves, like the well-known Running Man, became rather popular in his performances and attracted others eager to boo. Brown's performances were immersive events that permanently altered the music business, not only concerts. Bobby Brown demonstrated that an artist could be both a brilliant singer and a mesmerizing dancer, so redefining a live performance standard. This ushered in a new era of R&B and pop artists, combining music with theatrical, dance-driven performances to try to match his degree of showmanship. Following the great popularity of Don't Be Cruel, Bobby Brown had to maintain his rank as one of the eminent R&B leaders. His third studio album, Bobby, which confirmed his status as a market leader and demonstrated how his sound was evolving, came out in 1992. The album featured smooth ballads and up-tempo songs to highlight Brown's range as a singer and performer. Bobby was a great follow-up, even though it did not quite match the same degree of commercial success as the album featured a number of hit singles that demonstrated Brown's appeal. The combination of lively tunes and soft ballads demonstrated Brown's adaptability and his eagerness to test out novel sounds. A sensual ballad, Good Enough, demonstrated his emotional singing quality, while tunes like his popularity in the dance music scene grew even more after Two Can Play That Game and Get Away. Bobby Brown established himself as an artist capable of delivering both club hits and romantic slow jams by his natural ability to move between several musical genres. Bobby Brown's career transcends music to include significant contributions to film and television. His parts in reality TV and films provided him fresh approaches to highlight his ability, as also Bobby Brown enjoyed performing, which resulted in parts leveraging his popularity and charm. Starring and directed by Martin Lawrence, one of his finest acting performances came from the 1996 film A Thin Line Between Love and Hate. Brown had a supporting role in the film, which allowed him to highlight his acting ability next to a gifted main actor. A dark romantic comedy with Lynn Whitfield and Regina King in supporting roles, the film examined themes of love, treachery, and fixation. His performance was hailed as demonstrating his potential to establish himself in the acting field. Bobby Brown's career's attempt at reality TV is maybe one of the most discussed aspects. In 2005, he appeared on the Bravo reality series Being Bobby Brown. The program presented viewers with a frank view of Brown's life, relationships, and backstage issues. The show's emphasis on his marriage to the other person intrigued me, among other aspects. People were quite fascinated in, and the media focused especially on Whitney Houston's relationship with Bobby Brown. Showing both the love and the difficulties in the couple's relationship, the program gave viewers a personal view into their daily life. It also revealed their interactions with their daughter Bobby Christina Brown and provided viewers with a view into though it attracted a lot of viewers and became a cultural hot topic, some people objected to the way the couple's problems were portrayed in the show. One of the most memorable and divisive reality TV shows of its time, the show's unscripted, real-life qualities set it apart. The life narrative of Bobby Brown is fascinating and full of remarkable professional achievement. Although he struggled personally and experienced tragedies, His marriage to the well-known singer Whitney Houston was among the most significant events in his life. From 1992 to 2007, they were together. Their relationship was rife with love conflicts and shared hardships that drew public attention and permanently changed both of their lives. First meeting in 1992. Bobby Brown and Whitney Houston, though from quite different musical backgrounds, they met at the Soul Train Music Awards in 1989. Fell in love right away. Brown had raw, streetwise R&B. Houston had polished gospel-infused pop songs. On a personal level, the two grew close. Once they got married in a lavish ceremony, the relationship became public attraction. Everybody watched the July 18, 1992 ceremony with great interest. The marriage suggested the approaching difficulties, even while it brought together two musical giants. Born on March 4th, 1993, Bobby Christina Brown is the sole child of the couple and soon took front stage in their life. Even the happiness of having a child, though, couldn't shield Brown and Houston from their difficulties. From the beginning, the media closely observed their marriage. Tabloids routinely covered stories of public fights, suspected cheating, and drug and alcohol issues. Their relationship suffers much from the continuous attention, which makes it difficult for them to hide from the public or find solace in one another. For both Bobby Brown, Whitney Houston, drug and alcohol abuse became a major issue that affected their marriage and personal health. The couple's battles with addiction attracted a lot of attention. Both musicians acknowledged using drugs right at the pinnacle of their careers. Brown has a past of several crime arrests, including ones pertaining to drugs. Charges and conflicts worsened their situation and added to the media frenzy surrounding their marriage. Despite the issues and strife in their personal life, it became increasingly evident over time that they were struggling, since their public appearances frequently caused concern from both supporters and detractors. Friends and relatives have claimed that Brown and Houston experienced times of great love and great conflict, together with a strong emotional connection marked by intensity and passion. Houston often spoke about how much she loved Brown, and the couple frequently defended one another in front of others. Their marriage was stable even with the issues they shared. Sometimes they truly cared about one another and recognized the demands of celebrity. Following years of public scrutiny and inner strife, Brown and Houston's marriage broke down in divorce in 2007. In both of their life, it marked the end of a quite challenging period. Houston put great effort into rebuilding her career after their split. Discuss her addiction, but the consequences of her unhappy marriage to Brown stayed with her, since she freely shared the difficulties they encountered together. What? Bobby Brown was devastated when Whitney Houston passed away on February 11, 2012. The death of his ex-wife and the mother of his child crushed Brown. Speaking in public about his grief, he acknowledged how much Houston had meant to him. Brown and his family entered a very difficult period following Houston's death. It was a sobering reminder of the horrible consequences of addiction and both performers. Brown's death from Houston marked not only the end of her, also the end of a chapter, emphasizing how complex their relationship was. He would often consider the love they had experienced and had gone through together. Bobby Christina Brown was discovered unconscious in a bathtub in her Georgia home on January 31, 2015. Just as it appeared that the Brown family might be beginning to heal from Whitney. Like her mother, Bobby Christina was in a coma for almost 6 months prior to her July 26, 2015 death at the age of 22. Their official cause of death was drug abuse mixed with drowning. Everyone who knew her suffered much from her passing. The loss of his daughter compounded Bobby Brown's grief over Houston's death and left a scar on his heart. Following this tragedy, Brown founded the Bobby Christina Serenity Fund and turned activist for drug abuse and domestic violence prevention. Operating as a nonprofit, House offers resources for those battling addiction and supports victims of domestic violence. Though Bobby Brown's road to recovery has been paved with obstacles, it has also been one of will and fortitude. More than once, he has gone to rehabilitation. Each visit allows him to recover in introspection time. Bob Brown stressed the difficulty of dealing with addiction and the need of getting treatment while candidly sharing his experiences in rehab. By telling his story, he has benefited personally and given hope to others maybe facing similar circumstances. The path of Bobby Brown is a potent reminder that success sometimes follows adversity. Bobby Brown's will and fortitude enabled him to share his passion of music and inspire others to confront challenges. He leaves a legacy in the music industry, and for people battling their own conflicts, his narrative offers hope. Brown demonstrates by his work and advocacy that one can overcome adversity and change the world.